Puka Nacua left Rams practice with his knee wrapped in ice. The Chargers pass rush absolutely crushed a crippled Rams unit in a joint practice. And USC Athletics moves one step closer to solidifying its approach to NIL. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. And so it is August 5th, 2024. I am waiting for public transportation / rolling homeless shelter to get to work over in St. Loser, Missouri. This thing will take you into Illinois. Very convenient, but I must say they have to continue to ask the people on the train next to me to stop punching the clown. It's not really too uncomfortable, I suppose. I have been working out, so that's a compliment. Anyway, if you like being in the know about LA sports, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 3, Oakland 2. The Dodgers win a series against one of baseball's worst teams. Now, what seemed like 2/3 of the team going on the injured list, I was telling you guys, when the Dodgers started getting hurt, every single win the Dodgers could scrounge together matters. So they got one, and it matters. Kike Hernandez doubles in 2. Cavan Biggio drives in the game winner. Galaxy, they defeated Chivas. Lovely night out at Dignity Health Sports Park, although it took penalty kicks to do it. The match itself was a 2-2 draw. Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsill scored. Meanwhile, today, Philadelphia is in town to play the Dodgers at 7, and let's get to the news. Puka Nacua left Rams practice, a joint practice with the Chargers, a little over an hour in. Spent the rest of it on the sideline with a bag of ice wrapped around his right knee. Even more concerning is Sean McVay said he is not sure what happened. Now, let's be clear. A few hours ago, while I was on the plane coming out here, ESPN reported that they do not believe that the injury now is that serious, that it's week to week. But obviously, this could be a thing. It's not a thing in terms of the preseason. What I mean by that is the Rams don't play their starters during the preseason as it is. But the Rams want to see how dynamic their offense can be with Nacua and Cooper Kupp simultaneously on the field. And we already know Kupp is injury prone. They don't need two guys like that. So we're going to have to wait a spell for a more clear update. The Rams do not practice today. As for what was going on during the joint session of practice, McVay did not like what he saw, which we'll get into a little more in depth in a moment. Quote, I think they're doing as well as they can. I think there is a lot of learning right now, but there are no excuses, unquote. By the way, even before Nacua decided to ice the knee, ESPN reported that the Rams have no desire to trade Tutu Atwell. The former second-round pick has only 4 touchdowns in his career, by the way. So I don't know if he is the solution if Nacua is out for a while. The Chargers didn't escape unscathed either. Joey Bosa was left after something screwy went on with his left hand or his wrist. The dude spent the last 2 seasons with various injuries. Didn't even play in half of those games over the last couple of years. To be honest, we were talking yesterday about the Chargers' depth at edge rusher. We were mentioning surely, you would rather have Bosa in there to go along with Khalil Mack. But I'm thinking that this is something they aren't panicking over, even if it turns out to be a legit injury, as opposed to something that just needs a couple of days away. Frankly, all reports have indicated about the practice itself that the Bolts dominated the Rams. They registered 3 sacks, even though you're not going to touch the quarterback. And they deflected so many passes from the Rams that Derwin James said, quote, the ball was like a volleyball today. It was tipping up everywhere, unquote. It is true. I will temper that by saying that the Rams are missing 3 offensive linemen. Meanwhile, the LA Daily News believes that Jasir Taylor will likely win the battle for 5th defensive back with the Chargers. This is going to matter because the Bolts plan on moving Derwin James all over the defensive alignment. In other words, week to week, he could be a nickelback, could be a safety, could be a sort of a linebacker or even a corner that plays the slot, which makes him an edge rusher. Therefore, if you are the fifth defensive back, you're pretty much a starter anyway. But The Athletic disagreed with the LA Daily News' assessment. They said that A.J. Finley took a lot of reps as the so-called third safety. Offensively, the Chargers had problems too. This is something you could attribute to Easton Stick being under center as opposed to Justin Herbert, who we all know was wearing a walking boot. Meanwhile, over at USC, one of the problems the Trojans athletic program has had with name, image, and likeness collectives is that none of them have been particularly stable. When NIL first became a thing, we were talking about their first attempt, something called the Boulevard, which may as well have been called the Barrio because that's how much money they had. Conquest Collective is another incarnation of an NIL collective for USC that is pretty much imploded, according to the LA Daily News. Which means House of Victory is the cardinal and gold elephant in the room. And Lincoln Riley is cool with that. Quote, "It's about really coming together into alignment, putting all the powers that USC has into one direction, everybody understanding what that is. This is where we got to go. And if we didn't do it together, I should say, nobody can do it like us," unquote. To an extent, I buy that. If you've ever been to a USC football tailgate, you can smell the old money around that place. Now, to be clear, there is one other collective that wants to help USC athletics, the so-called Tommy Group, which is about as well known as Pinterest on social media. USC President Jen Cohen has sought to centralize the collectives, and there's a reason for that. There are still rules involved when you try to pay collegiate athletes. USC does not want to face another probe, another investigation, like they had during the Reggie Bush years. Back on the field, right guard for the football team seems to be a four-man battle between Amos Talalele, Alani Noah, Gino Quinones, and Tobias Raymond. 4/5 of the offensive line being settled isn't too bad, especially when you consider how Caleb Williams was under constant pressure from a line that did not play like a unit last year. Now, there is also the possibility Quinones will take reps at center. It's not to replace Jonah Monheim, I would presume. It sounds like they're trying to make Quinones more of a super sub. A lovely update from the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman says his son, Maximus, has been released from the hospital after getting treated for a rare neurological disorder that had the boy laid up in pediatric intensive care. As for when Freeman might play again, Dave Roberts suggested this week. Prior to the trade deadline, the belief amongst the scribes was a Dodgers catching prospect would be on the move. The Dodgers had three to choose from. Dalton Rushing seemed to be the favorite to go for two reasons. One, Diego Cartaya has struggled, and two, Thayron Liranzo was just in single A. Not that the scribes, of course, would ever admit to being wrong, because they never do. All those trade rumors, nobody admits to being wrong. And the Tigers took Liranzo as part of the Jack Flaherty trade. I bring all this up because Dalton Rushing has now been promoted to AAA Oklahoma City. And you might be wondering what that means, because after all, the Dodgers are set at catcher. Plot twist, they are playing Rushing out in left field a little bit. That might actually mean he might get some major league playing time in September if the Dodgers are still shorthanded in the outfield. Bob Nightingale of USA Today is a writer I do not have a lot of faith in, but he is claiming that the Dodgers are privately concerned about Clayton Kershaw after he got ripped in San Diego. LAFC has loaned forward Tomas Angel to Phoenix of the United Soccer League. This loan will run through the end of the year. Angel has appeared in 12 matches for the Black and Gold, including 5 starts. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about why I've got the phone so close to my face. Actually, talk to me about what you thought you saw in Rams practice with the Chargers. Are you okay with the progress USC has made in its NIL? Pardon me. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every day here, even on a train. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Keanu Cortell Queso production. Take care.